Hello, YouTube. I'm back. We're playing some wonderful StarCraft 2. We're going to be getting into the game here. I really wanted to show it off just because I had a ton of fun playing it, and the other person playing it also had a ton of fun. So, super cool to see that. Always do love being able to be entertaining. We're going to go over this build that I've recently been using that has kind of been working. I wouldn't say it's like 100% win rate or anything like that. I certainly have a long way to go if I'm going to get better at the game. So, went ahead and did a supply depot into gas, and then immediately followed it up with a barracks as soon as I was able. You can have the production tab open. It's not hurting anything. And as you can see, we are going to immediately saturate the gas to have 3 SCVs ideally. Now, again, I wasn't playing the best in this particular game. If we want to look at it in terms of like finesse, like it wasn't very crisp or clean, so I definitely need to work on improving my own speed at getting things accurately placed. And if you take a look here, we're getting our second barracks. I initially went into this game thinking I was going to do a timing attack, but as you'll soon find, we ended up having to change our route. But it led to a very exciting game, in my opinion. So definitely want to be getting our second supply depot, since as you can see, we're not going command center first. Although we do want to get our expansion at some point. I really like this map. I think it's really cool. I will admit I'm not the most experienced on all the maps this season, but there's been a good amount. And I'm starting to learn them pretty well. And I don't think I have any map-specific builds. I don't think I'm that deep into it, but I will admit I do need to get a build figured out. I don't have one right now. I kind of play things by ear off what I'm feeling, and to be honest, that's actually not a good way to practice or train. It's actually, honestly, really a little inefficient way to do things. Now, actually, you know what? Hold on. Why isn't there any music? Like, music. Yeah, pretty well. I mean, we'll keep the music at the same volume as the gameplay, but yeah, should always be music. Anyway, so we're going to be getting our barracks and command center out as soon as we're able to, and then after that, we'll get our with the expansion. We're looking to do kind of a timing attack, is what the point of the initial build was. As I was going through trying to make it, you can see I'm gonna go ahead and add on the engineering bay, and I'm looking for a 3 racks timing attack as we go ahead and get our tech lab into position. The Reaper ended up sneaking into the base, not from the direction I thought he'd come, so good on him and my opponent for doing that. And I do end up just chasing the Reaper down as our buildings start to come online. Of course, queuing up more Marines. Actually went ahead and made a Marauder, since I figured I'm doing a timing attack. I may as well have something more beefy. And since we were building the expansion on the high ground, it went uninterrupted. The Reaper didn't find it necessary to try and take it out, which is a really good thing. It's actually pretty good. So, are we on the right music track? I apologize. I just want to make sure we're doing Brood War. Yeah. Okay, so we ended up going ahead and landing our expansion, which is really, really good. We got our +1 attack upgrade on the way, combat shield as well. I'm going to get ready to go ahead and start making a push here, or at least to defend against the Reaper, I believe it was.
Kaboom, baby! This better be good.
Now, at this point in the game, we're looking at getting another reactor built, because I want to do a lot of Marine attacks. Because what you'll notice when you go for a timing attack like this, which is pretty easy to pull off, to be honest, there's not much thinking that I have to do about it. You know, we're building up our resources, and at this point, I believe I'm just kind of waiting on getting our gas going. That way we could have more stuff. One mistake I did make, actually, while playing, because I forgot to fully saturate my second gas.
Research complete.
And we're about to get supply blocked, because even though I had plenty of time to remove the supply block, I foolishly did not
Add-on complete.
get set up for that, which is just bad on my part. So once I get supply blocked and they stop building, that's when I notice, oh shoot,
Command
we're
center upgrade
supply blocked.
complete.
And unfortunately I used a mule instead of getting the call down supply button. So I figured this would be a good chance to go ahead and make an attack. Not even because my upgrades were done or anything yet, just because I figured, hey, may as well, since it'll free up supply while we get production on the way. And since we are supply blocked, it does give us an opportunity to work on getting more buildings.
Research complete.
Because I don't really need to commit as much to making units, because units are already queued up. And you notice we're not even really looking at the attack. I didn't even really watch the attack too much, just because that's not really the point of what's going on. And I got unfortunately attacked here. Now the right move right now should have been to go down, but I foolishly tried to go kill that siege tank. I didn't realize how many Marines he had at the top. I just quite barely missed getting the factory. So it's a bit disappointing. At the same time, he was dropping me. Fortunately, again, with our constant production of units, we were making more guys, so get to work on that. Probably should have changed my target fire a bit on that. But I was a little bit preoccupied. I wasn't really thinking too well. I mean, I made mistakes here as well. Clearly, we were not doing the best. But we got one kill on the Marauder, and more of my troops will end up deploying. So we are able to get enough troops to kind of clean this up. Though granted, our SCV count has plummeted. I mean, shoot, if you look at the units tab here, I have 14 SCVs and a mule. He has 21 SCVs. So definitely we were not doing good in the unit side at all. But you notice our production was still being maintained. We were still making plenty of things, even if perhaps we didn't have that much money.
Upgrade complete.
So of course, since we don't have spotty bows anymore, because we lost a bunch of stuff, immediately went back to production of
Add-on complete.
units and SCVs and whatnot. Anything I needed to do in order to stay in the game, and started queuing up SCVs as well to just try and kind of limit the amount of damage that we do take. Because of course we do want to get our SCV count back to a healthy number. I decided to go ahead and take my third. Not quite, I guess, but I'm going to get ready to take my third pretty soon. This particular map has an easy to take third, so that's what I was looking at, although he did drop me. So there was also always the concern that he would try and come back again for another drop. So I built a missile turret in the spot that he made the drop last time, just in case, and focused on getting fully saturated. But of course, my worker count was just pitiful. It was not good. I did not have enough workers at all. Even sent a guy to go mine. So I guess we're not taking the third quite yet. I just saw that it's getting high minerals. I forgot exactly when we do that, but we did continue to try and maintain production of units, because that's really important, because we need to be able to repel the next attack, because we are behind, especially. And my APM wasn't amazing in this game. Like, it was okay. I was trying to get stuff done and spend my money. I think at this point I started saving up. No. We needed more supply bows, I guess. But we were coming up to a point where we were going to start getting a lot more stuff. And then once we passed 400, after building a round of units, I think... nope, not yet. I guess we're getting the armory. It's been a while since I played this game, so apologies if I didn't check ahead of time. But we are working on getting another engineering bay as well as getting an armory. We want to get our upgrades going just as soon as possible to make sure that we're going to be fully equipped to handle whatever they're throwing at us. And at this point I was thinking, well, should we do medevacs or should we do Vikings? I ended up settling on Vikings because I figured that Vikings would be a little bit more useful, especially because late game, Terran tends to go battle cruisers, because battle cruisers are really, really good if you get them in a high enough number. They're actually very, very capable. But unfortunately, if even if the battle cruisers are capable. Oh, so this is when we started getting attacked. I was actually really happy with how I handled this attack. Or maybe I got lucky, I don't know, but I targeted the tanks. He overstimmed, so that was just a mistake on his part. You notice I don't even have stim, I just have normal troops. I didn't bother getting stim this game because I figured if I'm not going to use medevacs, there's no reason to get stim, because then they'll all just die like that, like how I just killed them because they overstimmed. So you gotta be careful about that when you do use the stim pack. And I figured, well, this is a good chance to go take map control, or heck, even try and kill him. And if you look at the unit count right now, he does have 4 siege tanks. Obviously, I didn't know that at the time, but my army is bigger, and in fact, I ended up surpassing him in SCVs, which is also really helpful. And so I think, yeah, at this point, now we're going to go ahead and take the third, because we're floating way too many minerals. And we need to get to work on spending it, so I just keep making things. And I figure this time we'll get ready. I don't want my troops too spread out. And I'm going to check for a third first. I didn't see anything. So I went ahead and... this is a mistake as well. I should have tried to at least kill the barracks or whatever he's building here. Yeah, it looks like it was a barracks that was in production. But it's okay.
Mineral field depleted.
With our engineering bay going, we're going to start +2. And we're also going to get ready to take the third as well. I did have some long distance mining going. That was a bit of a mistake. Granted, I was queuing up more SCVs to take advantage of the minerals that were already at my main. But I knew my main was getting mined out pretty quick, so we just had to be prepared. Also wasn't sure if he would attack again since I failed so miserably, so I figured I'd siege up and just wait it out. And hopefully it wouldn't have been too bad, is what I was thinking. My gas wasn't very saturated at the time. That's another thing I need to work on definitely, is making sure everything gets saturated appropriately. Just so that we have a good balance of resources.
SCV ready. SCV ready. SCV ready.
With the reactor going down now. Man, this feels like StarCraft 2 music. Sorry, it's like super distracting. Yeah.
Completed.
Oh well. Anyway, so as you can see in the production tab, we're making our upgrades. We're getting +1 ground attack, because at this point, I haven't really decided actually in my head to go Vikings, but that I figured I would upgrade the tanks first. Was my thought process.
Upgrade complete.
SCV ready. Who wants some?
But we're starting to get our third built. I'll go ahead and make some missile turrets queued up, just so that way I can ignore drops from that flank, since it is the most exposed base out of all the bases on the map, because it's really close by air, and there's a very high chance he was going to go for that. Immediately started +3 weapon attack upgrades for the infantry, because I want to make sure that, at the very least, if nothing else, the Marines would be able to shoot down medevacs that come in. Again, I was thinking at this point, 13 minutes in, probably going to have battle cruisers, and what do you know? There's a battle cruiser being built.
SCV ready. Fueled up, ready to go.
Again, remember, I haven't actually scouted anything for this. I just figured, let's make some Vikings and get ready. Because I was thinking, I think this is a good build. I think having Marines, Marauders, Tanks, Vikings, 4 units, that's a good composition
Mineral field
to have. Certainly very flexible, and really allows you to do a lot. And went ahead and focused on getting saturated on my third. Had to make sure we were maintaining our income to be able to keep our money low. Always make sure we're spending our money. That was really important.
Mineral
Just make sure we're always getting more money and spending our money.
SCV ready. This better be good. Let's have a blast. SCV ready.
With our supply block being capped, a supply amount being capped again, went ahead to take a look at what he had for his base, and from what I scanned,
Mineral
if you'll
field
notice, he doesn't really
depleted.
have a whole lot of stuff. What I scanned was pretty much his whole army.
Mineral field
Obviously, I didn't
depleted.
realize he had battle cruisers yet at the time, but the build I've been working on is going for, like if the timing attack fails, to do tank, Viking, Marine, and Marauder. I find that very useful.
Vespine geyser exhausted.
I realized we have about 1,000 minerals, so I put people into gas to make sure that we have a good balance of minerals and gas.
Ready.
And then at this point, I queue up a ton of supply depots just to get that ready.
Go, go.
Upgrade complete.
And I start making another command center to get
Mineral
ready to
field depleted.
float. At this point, I'm thinking, why don't we take the gold base? Because he's probably not going to suspect it.
Ready to blunder. Who wants some?
And I'm getting queued up for more stuff. I think I had actually blocked the factory, like the factory couldn't make stuff.
Upgrade
Like
complete.
the tanks were held up. But that turned out to be an accidental good thing because it means more Marines and Vikings were made, and since he was going battle cruisers, it somehow worked in my favor, which is nice. I started getting, started getting the +2 attack for the ground forces, ground weapons. That was really good to do as well.
It's about to get heavy.
And we have our +3 infantry armor being made. And yeah, the factory just wouldn't spawn. I think also because of the supply block. We were held up a bit.
Mineral field.
This better be good.
So it kind of refused to push people out.
It's go time.
And coming up about to the almost the 17-minute mark here, we finally have our 4th command center made. And immediately I begin transforming it into an orbital command.
Way. Coming through. SCV ready.
Yeah, I really just bottlenecked my
Ready to blunder.
production without even realizing it.
Ooh, it's on.
But we ended up having enough supply depots, and I get ready to go ahead and land the orbital command pretty soon.
Armed.
So I'm thinking,
Mineral
well,
field
that's probably the
depleted.
next step here. Once we're maxed, we want to make sure our economy will be good to go.
Upgrade complete.
I was thinking about if I should do the orbital command or if I should do the regular expansion, but in my mind, the orbital command would have been a better choice to put in the gold. So then I ended up moving my
Ready to blunder.
whole army because I knew we were about to max out. Nothing we could do about it, even unsiege the defensive tanks. I got ready to move to the center of the map to be able to go try and kill him. I didn't know how much supply he had at the time, obviously, but
Let's have a blast. SCV ready.
I also ordered some SCVs to transfer down to collect
This better be good.
the minerals. So I figured it's a good time to attack because we're going to be taking the gold base. And I did my best to try and make sure that the Vikings didn't go too far ahead. But then at this point, that's when I realized, oh shoot, there is
It's on.
a whole base down here. So I immediately ordered everyone to come on down
Mineral
because I
field
figured also he'd
depleted.
probably send his army as well. But we managed to grab some gold ones, so that's good. In hindsight, this kind of does reveal what kind of army I have, but nothing I can do about it anyway. I was going to attack him, so what can I do? And at this point, I hear the sound of the battle cruiser scan, and I immediately rush back
Base is
to
under
go ahead
attack.
and take that. I land the orbital command real quick just to make sure. And we get really lucky with what he targets. He probably should have been able to end the game right here with that, just by killing all the buildings. But we got super lucky.
Base is under
Also, I did
attack.
order all of my marauders and tanks to make an attack on his base while my Vikings showed up. I killed my engineering base, but the engineering base were done anyway, so not much of a loss there. Didn't really feel that sad about it. He did not end up killing my armory, which is great, because that means I was able to maintain my +1 ship weapons. As he flies over, he does end up killing the missile turrets, but that's okay, because we have a ton of Vikings that are just going to pound away at his battlecruiser fleet, and I figured I would try and get one more out of him if I could. But obviously we got a little too close, and we have to make sure we're not getting into range. And at the same time, we are attacking his main base.
Mineral field
I
depleted.
finally come over to watch him. I siege up. As his battle cruisers come in, I figure that's a good chance to try and take them out. So I try and F2 my army over just to get everyone over there, but I believe I decided against it at some point. Still, though, I was a bit disappointed that we weren't able to get the gold base. That was really disappointing. I'll fly over here anyway just to see if he was lazy and left him there. Did not work out that way. The battle cruisers come from behind. I figure I'll just sit my Vikings here and just kill his air stuff. Not much I can do about that. The rest of the army, I just had to ball up. And then we go ahead and end up actually cleaning up because we have +3 weapons. I mean, we're doing really good, actually. That's okay. Kill some medevacs. Doesn't hurt to kill these. Didn't even bother moving to defend it, so those should have probably flown away. Those were just unnecessarily free kills that I probably didn't deserve to get. But I figured, okay, great. So what are we going to do now? But I looked at my base. I was thinking, well, we're probably lost, but not really. He didn't kill the production structures, which was really good. And I could tell he was committing really hard to the battle cruisers because he made more. Funny enough, I looked down at the base and I saw all these missile turrets being made. I was like, oh, you're not sending like your forces here to attack? And I figured, well, I'll just move my troops down here to go kill it. Accidentally realizing that the Vikings were involved, so I pulled the Vikings out. I lost one. Didn't mean to, but I figured the rest of these troops should be able to clean it up. Almost lost another Viking on accident.
Add-on complete.
And I just lifted my command center
Complete.
to go ahead and take that corner position. Because, of course, we're going to need more money. And so, since the armory was working just fine, I went ahead and went with the ship weapon upgrade as well.
Ready to blunder.
I made sure to keep producing out of all my unit producing structures the entire time, as much as I could. As I got ready to set up, he made a, sensor tower, so probably wasn't going to go the way anyway, but it was a little annoying that it eliminated an element of surprise that I could probably have used on him. And I go ahead and get the close by base set up as well, because we want to make sure we're getting a lot of minerals if this is going to be a prolonged fight.
Ready to blunder.
And with our production steadily going on, because again he also didn't really kill any supply depots, so my supply was not hurting. I figured I would just sit back at home and try and remax as quickly as I could off of what I had hoped would be more sustainable units. And I transferred the SUVs straight down to the bottom to make sure to mine out as soon as possible. Because remember, StarCraft is all about sucking minerals out of the area, out of the ground. That's ideally what you want to do. Sorry, headset sounded weird. So yeah, we went ahead and took more bases because I figured with all this money and the fact that we are probably going to max out pretty soon, we may as well get more bases. F2 to move my whole army again. I gotta get in the habit of not using the F2 key, but at this point I wasn't really thinking about that because in my mind I was thinking about
Gangway. Coming. Ready to blunder.
about just remaxing.
This better be good. Who wants some?
So with the army almost maxed out again, I went ahead and made sure to gather everyone up, took a look at the composition, and decided to get ready to go ahead and make another attack.
Ready to blunder. This better be good. Who wants some?
Mineral field depleted.
When I noticed he made the second tower, I figured the second sensor tower, I figured that he probably was taking bases along the other side of the map where he probably was supposed to be. So I went ahead and sent my army down to try and cripple his economy as best as I could to make sure that it would be a quick way to cripple him. Also to make sure that he wasn't going to be able to remax, because I figured he was also maxing out. But I didn't find a base, and I was kind of surprised by this, actually. So I figured, alright, let's go to the next one. It's probably going to have tanks. But I totally caught him off guard here. He was just starting to set up the base, so he cancels the command center. Probably a smart move. Didn't know where his army was, but I knew we were getting pretty close. So I tried to mess with control groups a little bit. Have the Vikings fly separately. I was waiting around for his battle cruisers, accidentally getting my Vikings a little too close, but I sent the ground army in first to go ahead and take out what I could, and the Vikings would be on standby to defend against battle cruisers. I knew he'd have them. I knew there were going to be battle cruisers coming. So I start to bring my Vikings up to make sure that I'm defending them. In the background, I'm of course building units as well, thanks to those wonderful hotkeys. Then I use my Vikings here to help assist with the vision, but it's a little too late. That Thor actually be helpful. But I decided since the Widowmine's down already, I may as well just start crippling his air forces. He didn't have any battle cruisers, but it turned out to be okay. And then the battle cruisers do show up, so I bail. Ends up getting 1 or 2 Vikings from that, which is a little disappointing. But I try not to stress myself out because I know, hey, we were still producing in the background, and the Vikings should be able to get home. And of course, we are still mining from plenty of bases. Ended up going ahead and getting the reactor on the starport, because I figure I don't really want to do battle cruisers, because I think that's kind of boring. And instead, I'm just focusing on economy. And I decided since he probably isn't taking this base because of how slow he was going, I may as well take this bottom base, just so that way we can maybe start taking his side of half of the minerals. I heard the clicky sound, so I knew the battle cruisers were jumping. I didn't know quite where it was. Fortunately, he does jump onto this base. There's not too much I can do about it. I figured maybe I could at least catch the battle cruisers off guard. This was a really risky part of the fight. I probably could have lost the game right here. Did end up sieging, didn't really help. Flew the Vikings off to the side, to where hopefully the Marines I had hoped wouldn't be able to hit him as much. We got stuff sieged up. So the siege tank was able to help out a bit. I figured I'd sacrifice the Vikings to kill his battle cruisers, because battle cruisers are more expensive. But it didn't quite work. He managed to get away with a little bit of health. And I didn't bother moving the orbital command,
Base is under attack.
just because I was being dumb, and I figured it'll hold him off and buy time. So I went ahead and got in position, and I selected my tanks, ready to kill the battle cruiser. I sieged immediately, and the siege tanks ended up kind of saving the day on that. I mean, if you look at the unit count, I have like this is it. This is my whole army, and whereas he had some Vikings and other elements.
Ready to roll out. Mineral field depleted.
So I was in a really bad shape right now, like a really bad spot. Our supplies were actually even at this point, and I went ahead and transferred some workers over to get ready to just suck this base clean dry, because I figured, okay, if he lost a bunch of stuff too, he's gonna want more minerals. We want to just clear it out as much as we can to make sure that
SCV ready. Ready to plunder.
Mineral field depleted.
Who wants some?
that we get it done. So
Ready to go. SCV ready.
Upgrade complete.
I went ahead and got gas, make sure that everything was mining, because I realized actually that we didn't have very many bases left that would be suitable for us to take advantage of. So I made another command center and just focused on remaxing again as quickly as I could. In hindsight, maybe I should have made more production facilities, but at the same time, when you look at how low the minerals are, especially in this game, I don't think adding more production facilities really would have helped too much, as long as they were all producing. You know, it's not like we wasted any minerals, for sure. And somehow I managed to perfectly have the exact amount of SCVs and for gas, so I ended up just ignoring that one. And I realized that I didn't have gas on the other expansion, so I figured I'd go ahead and use a bunch of mules from all the command centers just to really suck dry all the minerals out of the base. And that would give me enough to be able to continue my production of units. And we got 3-3 on the way. So getting ready for 3-3. If you look at our is it G? Yeah, G is upgrades. I have +3 ship weapons. He actually didn't get ship weapons at all. So that's something I would say if I was trying to be critical, that, hey, you know, that's something that definitely you would want to be trying to take advantage of. So I get ready to go ahead and make one more attack. Before I do, I retake the expansions down below. And I take a look, and I'm really happy to see how quickly I'm mining out with all those mules. Really doing a good job to make sure that we clear it out as quickly as we can. And with my army almost remaxed again, I get ready to make another push. I'm also kind of waiting for a +3 weapon upgrade for the vehicles, so that's another thing that I really did a good job with. And of course producing tons of Vikings, because I figured Vikings and Thors would be good against battlecruisers, because in my head I'm thinking he's probably just making like an absolute ton of battlecruisers, so that'll be really good. So that's why I got so many Vikings this game. And honestly, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about trying out more Viking strategies. I feel like Vikings are really, really good. Like, not just for like anti-air, but like I feel like they'd be really complementary to a ground army. As you're about to see, this is going to go really nicely. Of course, I didn't realize what kind of a composition he had.
Upgrade complete. Mineral field depleted.
Thor is here.
So as you can see, we went ahead and started. I went from the lower base. I figured I'd start at the bottom and work my way up, because I figured, okay, he definitely has to have this base, because if he doesn't, that'd be silly. But I saw there was no gas, and I was like, oh shoot, did he just not take it? And I realized I have no idea where his army is. So I went ahead and made my way to start attacking his stuff. I had a ton of Vikings. Actually, if you take a look at the unit count, I had 20 Vikings, which is definitely too many. And we weren't really producing much anymore. I let my production slack. But it turned out to be okay. He landed his Vikings to counter those Marines, which is fine. And I was flying around looking for those battlecruisers. I was like, where the hell are the battlecruisers? We didn't seem to have any, so I just landed all my Vikings, and I was like, well, Vikings are still good units. And I saw his Vikings start to fly, so I picked them all up again, and I was like, oh shoot, time to use our Vikings. I just moved them into the base to go make an attack. I was clicking on the mini-map at the time to make sure they moved correctly. And so then I figured, well, he might be making battle cruisers out of these, so we'll sit around, because I didn't want him to jump to my base also and start like an ugly base trade or something. So I just hung out and killed them as they spawned in. We actually had way more production too of Vikings as well.
Mineral field depleted.
So I just just regular move my army up, and then I figured I could keep the Vikings back in air mode once the main armor was here. And it turns out the Thors weren't needed; those were like unnecessary entirely. Because again, I thought the Thors would be really good to help fight the battlecruisers, but they didn't show up. And then the guy's like, "Oh, you're so good," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." You know, when he saw that initially, I was thinking, "Oh, I didn't think I played that well." But he seemed to like it, and so I figured I'd make this video kind of for him too. Mostly to say, hey, good game. And I said thank you. And he said hat down. I was like, oh, okay. I was really taken back by this. No one really compliments you usually. So I said, hey, I'm on YouTube if you want to look me up. So hey, dude, if you're watching, thank you for watching. I had really fun time playing the game with you. Too bad this wasn't ranked. So I think I'm going to try more Viking strategies. I don't know if there's a good Viking strategy that I could try, but Vikings, as you can see, they do a lot of building damage really quickly. Really good. Everyone talks about, oh, Marine drops. It's like, nah, I feel like just Vikings would just kind of do better, you know? He didn't quite leave the game yet. I don't know what he was waiting for, but guess you production tab. It still shows he was producing things. I was still maxed out, obviously. So.
Mineral field depleted.
I never got the upgrade for faster transformation on the Vikings, so I think that's something I would do next time. If I was going to do something else, it would just be to get the upgrade for the... I ended up losing a lot of my Marines to Widow Mines, but there were enough Marines here that it helped me cleaning up pretty well. I saw these 4 barracks, I was like, oh, that's weird. And then as soon as it started getting revealed, I realized this is the last of the stuff, so that'd be the game. He said it was badass. I was like, all right, cool. I'm glad. And hey, look, I hope you had a fun time playing. I certainly had fun. And then that was the end of the game. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm El Werfy, and I will definitely be seeing you guys next time. Take care, everyone, and have a nice day.